really familiar with Missouri State. I mean, Dana played for me at Illinois State. I don't know if you knew that, but very familiar with their players. I've played them numerous times, and just really talented, really athletic. They really play hard on both ends, and so for us, they got some elite players. I mean, Gage Prim is a load inside. I thought I was done having to scout against him. He poses problems because he's an elite passer. I think he's very, very strong. He can score. He rim runs. He's a great offensive rebounder. But the thing that sticks out is the first thing you always got to do is, are you going to double him or not? He's such a good passer. And then you got Isaiah Mosley, who is a prolific scorer. 20 a game, shooting 50%. I think the Valley is an elite defensive league. And to average 20 a game, shooting 50%, he can put the ball in the hole. They got other really high-level shooters in Black and Manette. Patterson's much improved from last time I saw him. He's in good shape. He's very, very strong for a point guard. So they got some really nice pieces. They won 23 games, and it's a really good first-round matchup.
If you don't mind a follow-up, I do want to ask you about Dana Ford. Can you talk about your relationship with Dana? What was it like coaching him, and then just seeing him move up through the coaching profession?
He was already there at Illinois State when I got the job, and I give him so much credit. He was a young guy that wanted to get into coaching right out of the gate. He knew he wanted to coach. He paid his dues. I remember, just talking to him about getting in the profession, and he drove all over the country working basketball camps, and then he got connected with Greg Marshall. Then he moved his way to Tennessee State and then up to Missouri State. So he has started at the bottom and worked himself into an outstanding coach. And he's young, he's energetic, and I think he does a great job.
Porter, thanks a bunch. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll see you there.
Yes.
Jesse Crittenden with the next question.
Porter, it was good to see you guys in person this last weekend.
Yeah, I know. Glad you guys exist.
I wanted to ask. I know yesterday was probably disappointing for you guys, but was there still an excitement about accepting the NIT bid, getting a 1 seed, getting to play at home? Even through the disappointment, was there still excitement about that?
You got to get yourself there. So for me, the big picture, we're still playing in postseason. Obviously, we're not naive. Our hearts were on going to the NCAA tournament. That's where our hearts was. That's what we were working so hard for. And so, there's a level of, just get punched in the gut when you're sitting there and the final name gets up and you're not up there. That's a hard feeling when you invest so much. And that's what I think people can't understand unless you wear the jersey or you're sitting there, is how much you invest. The more you invest in something, the harder it is to give it up or to not get what you want. And these guys have invested a lot. They've come together as a team. They've tried to work with a new coach, new players, new teammates. They've had to go through the gauntlet of the number 1 conference in the country, the number 2 ranked schedule in the country. You're going through COVID protocols. You're going through COVID stoppages. They've gone through a lot. They've invested a lot. And then to rewind 3 weeks ago, when I just really were trying to rally them and say, you guys, there's a lot to play for. And then how much they invested in practice and film work, and to win those games in a row, and then to have to play Baylor and to beat Baylor, a number 1 seed, and to fall short by 1 point. So they've been a lot. They've invested a lot. So it was a gut punch. We're about to watch some film and get ready. We talked last night, about the NIT, and then we're about to, go over with Missouri State, the scout, the film. We're going to practice and get fired up and get ready to play.
I appreciate it, Porter.
Yep.
We'll go to Bob Piersbella with the next question.
Porter, how tough was it to address the team last night, and what was your number 1 message to them?
It was tough. And, I wasn't going to tell them not to grieve. It's okay to grieve. These kids wanted it. So you're not going to say you guys don't, but we will. So I said, take your time to grieve tonight. I understand that. I mean, for me, I'm gut punched, but I am more gut punched for them. I feel like I'm a young coach, despite my age. I'm a young coach. I feel like I got many years left in opportunities. A player has a short window to be in the NCAA tournament. So I first and foremost, my pain is their pain's worse. Their window should, for those seniors, they'll never have the opportunity again. I hope to coach, and I get that as a player. I was asked what was better when I went to the NCAA tournament at Creighton or going to as a coach. Unequivocally, as a player, it's better to go to the big dance as a player than a coach. I mean, not even a question. You ask anybody that. And so I feel for them, but it was hard to address them. But we got a lot to play for. It's postseason. There's a lot of teams that are home. There's 250 teams that are home, and in our first year, I want to go to the NCAA tournament every year. But we got a chance to play postseason. What's our legacy? What's you can be mad at people or for not being selected, or you can prove them wrong. And I choose to prepare, to fight, to go into this tournament trying to prove people wrong. That's how I'm choosing it. And I want the players to follow my lead. And we're gonna have this film session and practice, and they're gonna follow our coaching staff's lead.
Porter, you mentioned the legacy. I was gonna say, how important is it for the juniors and seniors to show the younger kids, this is how you bounce back, this is how we establish the culture that's gonna be here for years to come?
It's a lot, Bob. I mean, you get into these tournaments. I remember this. I remember at Loyola, and you might have heard me tell this story before, but they hadn't been to a postseason in 30 years. Now, that's not the case here at Oklahoma. But with that group, we went to the CBI. It's not the NIT, it's not the NCAA, but it was the CBI. It was the first one. And we decided to get in it, and we won it. We advanced and won 5 straight, got the ball, cut down the nets. We were one of 4 teams that year that ended the year on a win. Those freshmen on that class were my seniors at the Final Four class. They were the seniors that understood you get in a tournament, it's win, advance, prepare, next day you win. And that's what I want this group to do. You got a chance. I mean, someone says, how are you going to get them up to play and everything? I understand that, but man, you're in postseason, you're in NIT, you win. Next thing you know, you're in the Mecca at Madison Square Garden. My thing is too, if you hang your head and just like anything in life, if something doesn't go your way and you continue to hang your head, you're never going to bounce back. So we got a lot to play for. We got the NIT. We're going to go in there, do what we did 2 weeks ago. Control what we can control, and that's going to be my march with these guys.
Appreciate it, Porter.
You got it.
We'll go to James Hale next.
Hi, Porter. Good luck tomorrow. It'll be fun to watch you guys play again.
Thanks.
Goldwire's played so well. He's played so hard. He's cramped up at the end of the game. You've been reluctant to take him out. It looks like to me. I mean, I don't really know because he's been so good. Is Bijan hurt, or are you just going right in the senior until you can't ride him any longer? And you think, will you change that up in the next couple of games just to try to give him 5 minutes so maybe he's in the final minutes not cramping up and things?
No, Bijan's not hurt, and we still got confidence in Bijan. We're hoping he gets in the mix. It was some touch matchups, Baylor and Texas Tech for him, and we just decided to ride old during the tournament. We played Mo at some point, we played Marvin at some point, and just kind of made that decision against those older veteran guys, and we did that, and we're gonna count on Bijan. We're gonna continue to do it. He's had some great moments for us this year, but that was kind of how we rode it. When Jordan did come out, we kind of spelled Mo at some point. Marvin played some point, and just kind of went with older guys against older teams. I mean, Tech is very, very old. Baylor is very, very old, and so that's what we decided to do.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow.
Yep. See you tomorrow, James.
Go to Ryan Chapman next.
Hey, Coach, kind of a bigger picture question, if you will allow me. Your metrics, obviously, you talked a ton about this in Kansas City, better than some of those teams that are in the first four. Tom Burnett, his exact quote yesterday for you guys was a lot of quad one opportunities to win games, simply weren't able to win enough to get into the bracket. Is there any clarification from the committee on what they're asking of you guys? Because it seems like they're asking teams to schedule softer based off of simply those statements and the metrics and all that.
This is going to open up a can of worms, and I'm reluctant to go down that rabbit hole because I don't want to. I want to be forward thinking, but it is a topic of discussion. Some things with the quad ones wins we had. I think it's hard to just simply quantify a quad one win. If you beat a team that's ranked 75th, that's a quad one. If you beat Baylor and they're ranked second, that's a quad one, like 75th on the road, and you beat Baylor. Those are looked at the same the way they told us. Look at we had a lot of opportunities of quad one wins. All right. You're at Auburn when they're number one. You're at Baylor when they're number one. They're at Texas Tech, which is they have one of the longest home court winning streaks. You're at Texas. You're at Kansas. You're at Iowa State. I mean, those quad ones. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, but you got to just, I think there's got to be some kind of balance. So I don't want to go down that hole too far, but I think I felt that, with the strongest schedule, we had the number 2 strongest schedule and the number in our top conference, and for the top conference to only get 6, that was disappointing to me. I felt that to sit there and beat right before the tournament, to beat a number 1 line team and then to have a number 3 line team by 1. Think about that. And to say we're not in there, we've already, we beat a 4 line team in Arkansas. We already beat a 3 line team in Texas Tech. And so if they're saying there's we had too many quad 1 opportunities. Some people had 17, 18 quad 3 and quad 4 opportunities. So it is. It's a thing to think about in scheduling. What are they really valuing? If you play too many quad 1s and lose them, does that hurt you?
Thank you, Porter. Appreciate it.
We'll go to Uriing next.
Yeah, Porter, just to follow up there with Ryan, that's I guess the balance the head coach has to strike over a non-selection is there's so much formula that's outside your grasp, outside your program's grasp, and yet you also have to look at the things you can control. The 3 points or less opportunities that just slip through your grasp along the way. Is that an inner fight that you face coming out of the show last night?
Well, when the season's over, we're going to totally go back and look at a lot of games. I felt like, first year coming together, we were literally one of the only teams in the hardest conference in the country that at multiple times were playing 3 freshmen off the bench. Alston at times had to come in, Bijan and CJ. So we were also very young. We didn't have a lot of depth at the point guard spot, and our point guards knew with us, Jordan. And so yeah, we were fighting and clawing to be in a lot of these games, to sit there and go into Allen Fieldhouse and have the ball to make a play. We had a shot to win it at Texas here. It goes into overtime. We had a shot at TCU to win it. A lot of things. Of course, you're going to go back and you're going to continue to see and evaluate what you can do. You're going to evaluate your roster. And there's going to be a lot of, that's going to be going on with your roster. And every year you hope to stack recruiting classes and improve your roster every year. But what we were excited about doing is I really felt we established our culture of resiliency, of playing, of how we play to be in these games, to win some of these games, to win 18 games and counting in the number 1 league in the country, putting this team together. So there's a lot of positives to draw on. But every year I am going to go through a self-critical phase of going through everything, what we can do better on every front. And I know the way we're going to recruit. We're going to stack recruiting classes. We're going to build this roster. And we're going to continue to develop these guys in the offseason. And so there's a lot to build on with that as well.
Well, and if resiliency is the thing that you can point to as you most firmly established, that leads right into attacking the NIT, right? It may be to some a second tier event overshadowed by the NCAA. But with what you're trying to establish, this seems about as big as anything you want your kids to attack since you started the season.
Absolutely. It's postseason. It's winter. You're done. And I want them to get that mentality of advance. Let's be the last one standing. I've been 3 of those at Loyola in terms of winning and advancing. And that's what I want these guys to get in their soul, is that. And I think anybody will tell you in the NIT that the first one's going to be the hardest. You're disappointed from getting there. You got to get back and get in that mode, that feeling of getting back in and competing and winning. And I think a lot of people feel that way, that get gut punched. They got to get that first one's big.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
We have time for one more question. We're going to go to Joy Homer.
Yeah, Porter, how much of your message, you talked about so many different times, don't count us out. And I think a lot of people probably did count you out with where things kind of stood with a couple 3 weeks to go in the season. How much of your message to your team was how proud you were of the team to kind of stay together and give yourself a legitimate chance and to perhaps, get snubbed at this? You guys stay together throughout those last few weeks.
Joey, is huge because you've got to focus on what you can control. And we were way off the line. And we couldn't control that Richmond won. We couldn't control that Indiana won a couple games in the tournament, that Virginia Tech went on to win the ACC tournament. We couldn't control those things. All right. And we got all the way up to right there, with that. And that's the message that, and I think that urgency in the offseason, it's going to propel us. Trust me, I'm going to feed that urgency in the offseason, the skill development in the fall, in the early season, preseason next year. You do that, but man, we were so far back, and then to get all the way right there, yeah, it's gut punch, but you can't control a bid stealer, a team that gets hot and goes and wins their tournament. Those are things you can't control. And I think they saw that, man, we went from way off to right there, still gut punch, but lessons to build off of.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.